Yes.
So, as I said, we want to we're on part 7 of the talk about integrative health and healing cancer medicine free. So, how have we got here so far? We talked about breathing, we talked about nutrition, we talked about the immune system. So where are we right now? What are we going into today?
Today we are integrative. So we're integrating some of the topics we've been talking about. So why is it interesting? Because, you know, one of the problems in the health approaches is that we have too many specialists, and every specialist means that his or her approach is the most valuable, and that's why you should do this. It could be breathing, it could be diet, it could be mental training, psychotherapy, whatever. It could be physical movement, physiotherapy. It could be whatever. It could be immunity. It could be work with immunity. It could be a manual lymph drain, things like that.
So why has it become so specialized? What in your opinion, what's happened there? What's going on?
That's a very good question. I think because, the last many years, it's not 10, it's maybe 200 years or 100 years. We get all the fields of science got highly, highly specialized. And there's a lot of scientific research and development going on in the different fields of science and different areas. So people are really going in depth, and the same thing with the with school environments. When people want to get a profession, they going into the profession and they really specialize. So the problem is that the generalist, being a generalist, it's kind of strange in this situation, because you are not real, you are not in depth.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think that, looking at the so-called big picture, there's no logic in it, because when you get into these monolithic silos of knowledge, two things happen. First of all, you become completely blinkered and only focused on your speciality. The other thing is, because you invest a lot of time and a lot of effort into learning, you tend to become indoctrinated and therefore very closed to other ideas.
Yeah.
Right. And thirdly, I think that you made a reference to the education system, that we have a fundamental problem today, that we specialize, but we specialize our learning from what we take in up here rather than with our hands. So much of our learning tends to be theoretical rather than practical.
That's another thing. That's right. I think you're right. And what is the topic for today? The topic for today is connecting things together. Understand the connection and understand the value of connecting things together.
Okay.
Understand the value of the overall view, macro view, like helicopter perspective. Understand the value of interdependence. I love this word, interdependence, because we talk about independency.
Yep.
And many of specialists, they want to be independent, and they want to really go into something, and they start saying that, you're not right because, I'm right because I studied this for many, many years.
Exactly, that's what I said, yeah.
The most valuable thing, what I'm working with, and I have this theory, I have this research backing me up, and then that strange things happens, because we as humans, we can say we are multifaceted individuals and multifaceted beings.
Okay, can you just give me 1 second? Keep speaking. I'm just going to.
So I keep speaking. And, what the thing is that we really need to understand the interconnections and interdependencies of different health approaches.
Sorry about that.
What I said, that we have to really understand the interconnections and interdependencies of different health approaches. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
If we do that, we create the strongest synergetic effect. And the synergetic effect, that's what we really need, because, you know, many of us, we struggle with different health conditions, problems, diseases, and from cancer to asthma, arthritis, diabetes 1, diabetes 2. And every time we try to talk about how the conventional medicine approaches this, every time it approaches curing the symptoms. The best example is to see how the science, how the medical profession approaches diabetes. So that's a difference between healthcare and disease care. So what they are doing, it's actually a disease care, because what they want to get a status quo in the symptoms, not allow the symptoms to the condition of diabetes to proliferate. So that's what they say. But
so they're finding
they are not curing the cause. And what I really need, I think, we need to go from disease care to health care. And healthcare, that's the integrative approach. Should we give a possibility for a couple of minutes for a seat for another?
Yeah, maybe if anyone wants to join in this,
we try this.
We've got an open seat. If anyone wants to, just put it. If you want to come in, yes, we have a guy who's doing something very strange.
Yes, sound looks very, very good. Okay. Is it that, Maita?
Hello. Hello, how are you?
Very good, very good.
Okay.
You are upside down. How do you do that?
I have a camera. I flipped the camera upside down.
Okay.
Yeah. So, guys, you want to solve the cancer?
Yeah.
Yes. And you from Germany?
We're from Denmark.
Denmark, yes. I come here. I want to tell you good luck for that, because I know many people with cancer, and I want the cancer to be cured.
Very good, Maita.
I want the people to be cured and the cancer to be destroyed.
Maita, that's a very good thing you are talking about, because you know what we really need. We have to heal ourselves. Nobody can heal us if we don't understand why we get the sickness.
Yeah, so why do we get the sickness? Why?
So let's talk about what we got the sickness. Now we're gonna go on and talk about why we get the sickness, and see how we can incorporate different views on health and stop the sickness. Should we do that, Maitar? We can.
Maitar, we can do that without him being there, because I'm getting seasick.
Thank you very much, Maitar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, what is a seasick?
Seasick is when you're at sea and you have vertigo because what you're looking at disturbs your brain patterns, I think. But never mind. That's from Maita. He wants to know. And I think what you said is very valid, Misha, that it's almost like having a fire brigade who go around fighting, when you see them out in the forest, they're fighting the patches of fire instead of actually going to the source and finding out why we have fires in the forest in the first place.
That's a very good point. And you see, very, very often, what we really need to apply very simple logic to complex items, to complex ideas. And the complex ideas, because, we really need it in healthcare, because our body is a very, very complex mechanism.
Absolutely.
You cannot say you do this or you do that and you cure the cancer. It's not possible. The cancer is a metabolic disease. Metabolic disease is not a disease of genes. It's not a genetic disease. You see, it's not some kind of gene we have to repair and then everything will be okay. No. Genetic means, metabolic means our metabolism.
Which is controlled by our hormones, right?
That controlled by hormones, controlled what we eat, how we breathe, how we move, how our immunity works, how our mental, what are we thinking of the stress, different stress triggers we have outside the world, and what kind of stress it is. Is it psychological stress? Is it stress from pollution? Is it stress from nutrition? Is it stress, psychological stress from your work, and everything? All of these things we have to really be aware of.
Yep.
And then we have to understand the interconnection, the interdependence. So let's start. I would like to talk about my protocol.
Right.
And it's not only cancer healing, it's also a healing of all lifestyle disease.
Okay. It's interesting you say that, because Misha, it strikes me that, the human physiology has taken some, if we go back, they figure we're about 2 million years old, right? And we've come right forward to the 21st century. And it seems to me that the so-called lifestyle diseases, which can be considered metabolic diseases, have only really come to the fore in the last 50 years or so. Is that not true?
That is actually true. Yeah, that is true.
Okay, so we'll talk about some of the causes and the reasons for that as you go along. Good. Thank you, Misha. Go ahead.
Yes.
It'd be nice if you could actually, while you're doing, have you got a possibility to do this graphically? Have you got something we can use to draw this out? Oh, right. That's fantastic. He's got a whiteboard there. That's fantastic.
So, guys, I'm going to step down from my rebounder, because when I'm talking and when I'm working with my desk, I'm at the rebounder. So, in this height normally. So what is doing? I step down from my rebounder and I go and I come here.
This gives you the motion you need.
That gives me the motion I need, because our life otherwise is very, very, sedentary.
Very stable. And that part of your protocol there is the fact that we are too sedentary, right?
Yeah, so too sedentary, yeah. So you see, we can start with the star.
Okay.
Can you see
a five-pointed star there? 5-pointed star. Can
you see not a good?
Yeah, yes, we can see the star. Everyone can see the star. Tell me, can everyone see the star? Julian, Meta, can you see the star? So this is a 5-pointed star.
This is a 5-pointed star.
Pentagram.
That's a pentagram. That's right. And you remember something called Vitruvian Man?
This Leonardo da Vinci thing about the man standing
like that.
The star. So yes, I know that. Yeah,
that's a very, very well-known pentagram. But what we really need here, we need to connect it with the human health and how we can cure disease.
Okay, it's very interesting.
What I'm working with, I'm working with, let's say, with these two points.
Yeah.
Let's make them in red. And these 2 points, they have something with, everything have something to do with energy. And these 2 points, they have something with optimization of energy intake from outside the body, from the environment. You see, this is nutrition.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I guess that also includes water.
We say nutrition.
Yeah.
And this is breathing. So
the air, oxygen.
So what we do, again, when I explain it to my clients, I say, we have to, with one hand, when we stand like that, with one hand, we have to take the energy in.
Yeah.
In the mouth.
Yeah.
It's two of the most biggest sources of energy.
Okay, so through the nose, the air, through the mouth, the nutrition.
Acquisition. So we take it in here and we take it in here. So in here, we take oxygen through the air, okay? And we have to optimize it very much.
Yeah.
And all the disease is actually, in the physiological textbook written by Guyton, actually.
Oh yeah, the Bible for doctors.
Of physiology, it's written all of lifestyle disease, all human disease, all chronic disease comes from the lack of oxygen on the cell level.
Wow.
That's a directly quotation from physiology book. And this physiology book is getting used by all the doctors in the start of their.
But clearly they don't read that particular chapter though, it seems.
Maybe. But what we do here, we really need to optimize the oxygenation on the cellular level.
And we do that by breathing.
And we need to also optimize the intake of macronutrients and the intake of micronutrients.
Okay.
Here. So we have the Vitruvian man, or I call it a protocol of health, Sakharoff protocol or Sakharoff pentagram. Yeah. So here and here. And that's what we have here. Nutrition and breath.
Nutrition, yeah, got it.
Okay? And all of these things are called optimization.
Optimization, right? Got it.
Can you see it?
Yep, optimization, yeah.
Health optimization. So, you see, the next thing, what we are doing, we're taking the part, the stability. And what is the stability? This thing, it makes us human beings because we do things with hands. We can create things with hands. That's what we do. We are humans.
Yes.
The second part we're now working with is a triangle. This triangle something to do with our resilience.
Okay.
The resilience, it's from the animal world. It's from where we come from our DNA actually comes from. We evolved from the apes, and we need the stability of the apes. And the most stable figure is a triangle.
Yep. Okay.
So what we have here, we have this triangle.
Yep.
See?
Yep.
And this triangle, we work with optimization. You see, the red one was what? It was, if we say here, the red color. Can you see it?
Yep.
It's called, let's, just a second, a little bit down. Can you see it? Can you still see it?
Yes, we can see it, yes.
We call it energy acquisition.
Yeah, and energy acquisition. Okay, got that.
Okay, so these things are something to do with energy acquisition, okay?
Yeah, it's clear. Yes.
Look, when we acquire energy from the environment into our body, what do we have to do afterwards with this energy? We optimize the acquisition.
Yeah.
What do we do then?
We have to convert it. We have to convert it, don't we? We have to transform it.
We have to distribute it.
Yeah.
Okay,
distribute
so we have to that's the other word for distribution. So now we're going to work with green.
Yeah.
It's called energy
distribution.
Distribution.
Okay.
So when we are working with energy, with the optimization of energy acquisition, working with breathing and nutrition, because they're the two main sources of energy from the environment. We need macronutrients. We need macronutrients. We need oxygen. We need to oxygenate the cells better than they are because they are starving. the 85%, the research says that the 85% of the population of the Western world have cells that are starving for energy.
That's amazing, isn't it?
That's why we have lifestyle disease. That's why we have how do you call the sickness, the illness that goes totally. It's called what? It's called spread all over the world. How we call it?
Yeah, it's an endemic, pandemic,
epidemic, or pandemic.
Yep.
So you see, the pandemic is what is happening right now. It's the pandemic of lifestyle disease, and what we are going to see that the generation of our children will experience cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, very, very close to 40%. To 40% of the population of our children. My children are 19 and 24.
Yeah.
And I really don't want this. That's why I'm trying to explain those things to them. So they are already on this early stage, understand that they need to be sure.
Of course, people, as you're saying, people, you talk about lifestyle diseases, and people seem to think that cancer is perhaps the one of the most difficult to handle and talk about, because it tends to be deadly. Of course, there are a lot of treatments, but what people seem to forget is the morbidity of diabetes, and especially Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's is a major cause of death these days.
That's right. And again, that's the proliferation of Alzheimer's. We can talk that in the human race got like tenfold, like cancer, tenfold since the 1970s, where the World Health Organization made reports about the cancer proliferation in the human race as a lifestyle disease, and about Alzheimer's. So now in the last 45 years, it got 10 times, tenfold.
Okay, so what you're saying, that the combination of the degeneration of the energy and the distribution, the degeneration in this whole spectrum that you've made is basically the cause of our metabolic lifestyle diseases. Totally,
and we do everything to help it by eating wrong things, eating in the wrong way. Our lifestyle is.
What do we eat wrong?
So that's what we're going to talk about this. But let's keep to what we talked about: energy acquisition through nutrition and breath. So we're talking a protocol. We're talking a pentagram protocol for integrative health. You see?
Okay. So the whole thing. That's
so
where
now, when we acquire energy into our body, we need to distribute it. And what we have head here, right?
Yeah, the head. Yeah.
And that's called a mental. And this one is called physical.
Yeah.
Physical.
Yeah.
Let me write like that. Physical. And this one is called immune.
Immunity. Okay.
So we're talking, this is actually resilience. So what we're talking about, it's to optimize the resilience and distribution. So you see, we can write resilience here, energy distribution and plus resilience. Because you see, the thing that can be viewed from different angles. So it's very hard to find a word that is totally covering the subject. Because
I can imagine.
It's very, very big. And we can make many different parallels to different views according to our profession, It's like, I just had a client today. I just had a client with something called CFS or ME.
Yeah.
Encephalomyelitis or chronic fatigue syndrome.
Okay.
And I've been working with this guy for 14 months.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most complicated conditions because science still doesn't know what it comes from. So it's a lot of research we're doing together, and he got much better.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah, he doesn't have. There's a lot of things, but now we are. I found the one scientific research today, and I wanted to present it to him. We have 1.5 hour sessions every week, or sometimes every second week.
Mm-hmm.
So I work very, very close with my clients.
Yeah.
A lot of it, it's the teaching of physiology. So, for me, it's a real cognitive approach, because the word cognitive normally being used for psychotherapy, where we have to understand our thoughts and then we can change them, you see? But what I think is totally wrong, because understanding the thoughts, it's still a very good thing, but it's very unstable when we're dealing with stress. Because these thoughts are ever changing. You can never control your thoughts. That's a problem. So for me, cognitive approach, I have my own understanding of cognitive approach. And cognitive for me, it's understanding still, but understanding of physiology, understanding of how your body works. And when every of my clients, be it with terminal cancer, terminal brain tumors like glioblastoma 4, or leukemia, or CFS, or asthma, or diabetes 1 or diabetes 2, they have to understand the physiology of their condition.
Yep.
Then they will do the life change.
Yep.
Because they really understand what they're doing. They are not combating the sickness. They're also making the background for the healthy life after the sickness is gone. And that's all of a sudden is getting a very, very big perspective.
Yeah. Of course, people who are ill, especially people who get cancer, they suffer very much from fear. And someone told me that fear is it stands for something, FEAR, and they said this stands for false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. And the thing is, if you've got false evidence appearing real, that is because you don't have the knowledge. And therefore, if you understand the physiology and accept that, then you're a long way into pushing down the fear, which obviously has a huge effect on the stress.
You know, I love you for your
thank you.
Very, very good, Steve. You're totally right. And here we have to understand one very basic thing. That when we understand something, then we can have our own meaning about things. You see, because there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of quackery. Well, I don't use this word because there's somebody that are calling me quack too. Because I'm not a medical doctor. I'm an engineer. I call myself Integrative Health Engineer, and I have also I'm a certified Buteyko specialist, Buteyko educator.
Yeah.
But I'm not a medical doctor.
Yeah.
But am I automatically a quack?
For me, a quack is someone who gives out medicines or we in Danish say a crack salve, which means salve is an ointment or something like that. I mean, what you're doing here is the ultimate lifestyle wellness coaching in a way, isn't it? It's wellness.
Yes, people are healing themselves. I'm not a healer. Yeah. I'm an engineer.
You're a coach in that respect.
I can give them understanding of physiology. And what I'm working with as an engineer, I'm working with pure physiology, nothing else than physiology. I'm every day reading. I'm subscribed to different medical journals, and I'm reading but I'm reading a lot about cancer, all the research, and I'm not interested in using medicine. I'm interested in learning and teaching people how to use the hidden power of healing in their own body. And it's nothing to do with New Age powers. It's
this is pure engineering.
It's pure engineering. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I say, Misha, see, we've got a couple of other people there. I think we've got Hugh and Julian. Do either Hugh, we've had Meta on, but do Julian or Hugh, would you like to come in the MTC? Maybe you've got a couple of points you want to make, or are you just happy listening to what Misha is saying? There's an open seat now. Geopathic stress and electromagnetic radiation health. I'm sure you've got something to say about that.
You want to sit in, or just you want to answer the question here?
Hugh, you're very welcome to come in and have a discussion.
Yeah, but I can say that that's a very, very interesting.
Okay, understood. It's
okay. What I can say that electromagnetic radiation is very, very interesting, and my mentor in the field of breathing retraining, Buteyko breathing world, his name is Artur Rahimov. Artur Rahimov. Yep. He has the site called
Normal Breathing, yeah? Normalbreathing.com?
Normalbreathing.com.
Yeah.
And Hugh, I will just say that there's a lot of connection with electromagnetic radiation and human health. So some people can be much, much more sensitive towards electromagnetic radiation than others. They have real severe symptoms. And if you, there's several devices. I have some of these devices I can show you actually.
I don't mean to still hear me, Misha, while you're there, but I was thinking geopathic. That's also there's a lot of places in the world that have this background radon gas. It comes out of the granite, comes out of the rocks. That's also an issue, isn't it?
That's right. It could be. But this thing is a device made by Artur Rahimov. And what is interesting, that you can sleep with it. This is made of very special cloth that is made of silver. That's a silver cloth. Very, very thin silver, how do you call it? Thread.
So it's woven silver.
And this connects to your heating system or some other place where you can make...
You can earth connection.
Earthing, yes.
Or ground it, yeah.
Yes, grounding or earthing. I live in the house, so I can do it in the outside. But we're not going to talk a lot about it. I just want to make sure that you look at normalbreathing.com. And the breathing, the breathing affects a lot of different systems. We have 12 systems in our body, actually. Interconnected systems, tubular systems that are interdependent from each other. And electromagnetic radiation and earthing can have, for some people, a very big influence on breathing, and in this way influence all the body systems. So that's about electromagnetic radiation. Thank you. Now we go further, okay? We have a little question from the listeners, and I think it's a very good idea, actually, to let people interact with us.
Okay, but let's move on then.
Let's move on, yeah. So let's go a little bit more in the physiology of this. You see, this picture, if we, for a second, we take, actually, no, we don't do this. We can, okay, the first thing I would like to show is that, you see, these are connected. But engineering, you say in engineering, that's called the star topology. The topology is the way of things are connecting to each other. They influence each other. It's called the topology. Yep. It can be a cube, a topology. It can be a triangle topology, and the star topology. It's also be a six-pointed star topology.
Yeah.
One is a 5-pointed star topology. And you see the elements are connected with each other.
Yeah.
But can you see, are all of them connected with each other or not?
No, it needs to be in a matrix, doesn't it? In a sort of web.
That's right. We need a matrix. We need a real matrix here. So we connect those together. And you see, what it really does, in engineering language, and I come from telecommunication engineering, making wide area networks, local area networks, personal area networks, different kind of networks. So what we need here is the understanding of interconnection and interdependence, and that every part of this pentagram is as a part of a mesh, what we call a real network. The mesh is, you say, the matrix. Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, when we work with nutrition, it can influence the mental state. And there's a lot of science that are proving this. It can ensure the breathing very much. It can influence the physical resilience, the ability to withstand big physical loads, you know, and it affects your immunity very much. We know that.
Yeah,
that's one of examples. What the real mesh is. In the same way, we can go to the mental state, and is actually the mental. It's not about the thoughts. It's actually about the ability to be in the senses, because when we are in the senses, we can control our physiology. When we are in the thoughts or feelings, we are not able to control our physiology because it's very, very unstable. We don't have a real tap into our body.
Okay.
That's a problem. So every one of this has an influence on the others. And now I do something else. We can see the picture a little bit different. So if I just take the connections out, and you know what? I'm training because I'm very soon I'm invited to be a speaker in international conference about breathing.
Oh, cool!
In February in Göteborg, in Gothenburg, in Sweden.
Yes.
On the 3rd of February. If you guys, some of you are.
If anyone's up in Sweden, make a date.
So the 3rd of February in Sweden, I will be one of the 6.
In Gothenburg, in Göteborg.
Will be International Breathing Day.
Wow.
Breathing Day. It's a conference, and I'm invited as one of the 6 speakers. There will be a doctor, opera singer, an engineer, breathing therapeutes.
Fantastic.
So what I'm doing now, I'm actually training to make, I got a half an hour, actually, a lot of time from the conference. So I'm training right now to present my system. I will be talking about how breathing is a part of these mesh networks that will be actually, so integrative health approach.
That's fantastic.
Breathing as a part of integrative health approach. Okay, and I call it's my protocol. I'm working with this, and I'm trying to connect different fields of specialization together in order to get the advantages of synergetic advantages for healing.
Okay, so as you say, some people might say, well, he's a generalist, but actually by being a generalist or taking the generalist view, you're actually discovering the synergies. That's right.
You need to be an engineer, actually. Sometimes an engineer would be better than a doctor, I think, sometimes, because doctors
seems that way.
Sometimes also when the generalists, they have some there's a lot of very, very good doctors that are reading research every day and changing the way of thinking. But many still, and that's a problem because they're seeing a lot of people every day. They don't have time.
They don't have time, do they?
To do the research. And I have only maximum of 10 clients.
Yeah.
Only 10. I cannot handle more than 10 clients. So, that's by purpose because I want to go in depth with every person. And I want to make a real lifestyle change for a person. But you see, the other way of looking at this, you see, we have the physical part.
Yep.
We have an immune, what we call a distribution of energy in the body, and we have a mental.
Yeah.
Here we have something called energy acquisition, and we have the nutrition here, and we have breathing here.
Mm-hmm.
So you see what we are doing. Another way of looking at this, because we need to remember, we need to understand how we work. And my clients really need to see their disease in bigger perspective. So what we are seeing here, we can make a triangle here. You see, triangle. That's the triangle of resilience. I call it the triangle of resilience.
Mm-hmm.
And
triangle of resilience.
Yes.
Okay.
Resilience. I write here, resilience triangle, because the triangle is the most stable thing, the most stable figure that is found. Complex figures. That's a triangle. And if we optimize resilience, we can get a very, very big stability. Stability means both resilience, when we can be dynamic and also stable. So now no stress can shake us. You see? And this, that's true. This is the combination of immunity, immune resilience, physical resilience, and mental resilience. Those three things were working together. Mental resilience, we are working with something called Hara point, and Hara is a training of to have focus in the one point in the just below the navel. It's a system acquired, by from samurai legacy, and it's very much used very much with modern martial arts. So I've been interested in martial arts for many years, and this is one of the areas that I'm really interested in, because when we can have focus in one point all the time, we are very, very resilient against stress. And that fear, stress, for many of the conditions and sicknesses, that's a very, very big point we have to work from. And you see, this resilience, mental resilience, have a very big physiological influence on immunity and on physical stability. Okay. And when we do the exercise, I made something called three-dimensional joint exercise. And this is
three-dimensional joint exercise.
It's actually exercise for stability of your structure. Yep. We do something called structured movement. We work with structured movement. We work with the stability of connection of all the bones in a structure, so we don't disrupt the resilience here. And when we work with this together with physical stability, we obtain mental and immune. And that's a very smart way of working, because when we do this exercise, we start doing something that is called lymph drain in movement. In movement lymph drain.
Okay.
In movement lymph drain, because when we move in a certain way, we have 10 strategic places in our body when the valve function of immune system on lymph drain are situated. So we do this kind of movement in the right way on the focus here in this point. Yeah. We have focus on breathing. We have focus on muscle relaxation. We work with antagonist relaxation. Antagonist groups, they are closely tied with stress symptoms. Stress is mental. Antagonist function, attention is physical. And when we do this movement, it affects our immunity, because we start actually flushing the lymph nodes, because the lymph nodes and the pump function of lymphatic system situated in the same place. Lymph nodes and lymph ducts are getting flushed, and they have a very, very big influence both on cardiovascular state of cardiovascular system, cardiovascular disease, on everything. and on the gut health, and on the gut health too. So it's actually influencing both breathing and nutrition. You see?
Okay.
The second thing to understand is that when we connect those two,
Mm-hmm.
and when we make a point here, then what does it remind you of?
It looks like a balance.
That's a balance.
Yeah.
That's the balance. So in the so what the children are playing a lot with, how do they call a balance board? Or
seesaw.
It's
called a seesaw in English.
A seesaw, yeah. So what we have here, that's a seesaw. So this thing is about establishing a balance. It's establishing the equilibrium or balance, or you see. And when we are working with optimizing breathing through Buteyko technique, that is pure physiology. It's based on Bohr's law of
Bohr effect. Yes, I know.
Bohr effect. It's about cellular oxygenation of the cell level.
We've covered that in another talk. I think if people want to look at that, you can see the on YouTube.
In short, it's about maintaining the right gas balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen, both in the lungs, then in the blood. So in that way, we make point-to-point acquisition of, we have a control, point-to-point acquisition of oxygen from the air until the cell. Because what is interesting, the process of breathing, it's something to do with the lungs, something to do with alveoli, something to do with the cardiovascular system, because it transports the oxygen. But what it really has something to do, it's called cellular respiration.
Okay, not many people know that, though. I mean, that's not well known, is it?
Cellular respiration. That's what it is. Okay? And if we don't optimize cellular respiration, we have very, very big risk of evolving cancer and the later periods of our life, because cancer thrives. And that's Otto Warburg. That's another scientific word. There's a lot of it. It's called Warburg effect. And Warburg effect is the state. Well, that's is talking about that the cancer cells evolve and proliferate in their environments that lack oxygen. There's oxygen starvation. So that's how we get cancer, and we can actually reverse cancer, and that's the Buteyko system. When I'm working with one of the two in Denmark that are
working with this,
certified with that, yes. So you see, nutrition. That's called. We work with ketogenic nutrition, and lowering the glucose levels and increasing sensitivity of insulin sensitivity. Both insulin and glucose have their own pathways to cancer. They both, when you raise both, and normally they raise together, they promote cancer in different pathways. I will not come. If you go to my site, Sakharoff.com, I write it here, Sakharoff.com. There's a lot of information about all the scientific research about this, and I'm updating it currently. So subscribe on my blog.
It's interesting you say that. I just want to give a shout out for a Canadian. He's actually a nephritic doctor. He's a kidney doctor called Dr. Jason Fung. Jason Fung.
Yes, he's a very
Jason Fung. I actually had some correspondence with him because I like to speak to these leading researchers. And he said that despite all the evidence coming that weight control is an insulin and to a degree cortisol issue, but it's basically the hormones, the insulin, which is basically changing the thermostat in our bodies. He says that even after all his research and everything, he still finds it very, very difficult within the medical profession to overcome this concept that no carbohydrates and insulin. It's only a matter of calorific control. If you reduce the calories, do more exercise, then you'll lose weight. And it's amazing that
actually that's one of his main points. That is nothing with calories to do.
It's nothing to do with calories. You can actually eat less and gain weight if your insulin levels are sufficiently high.
So check this doctor. He's a very, 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 very good. And
he has the etiology. I'll write it because it's very interesting, isn't it? It's a very detailed. It's called the etiology of obesity.
And it's a series of 6 videos, if I remember right. 6 videos that are going in depth with this. It's like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour.
It's fantastic. It's really worth spending 6 hours to watch.
7 hours to watch. You see, the last thing I want to talk about now.
Yeah.
That's how to call a raisin in the rosinen i pulseenden in Danish. It's called. It's like a top on the top of everything.
Yeah.
And this is this point, because you see, without this point, everything will fall. We cannot establish the balance without this point. Is that right? And that called
the fulcrum. We would call it the correct word is the fulcrum. Yeah.
The fulcrum.
Yeah.
2 L's, right?
No, 1 L. Fulcrum. FULCURM. It's the balance point of a. Yep.
Like that. And this fulcrum is called the process.
Okay, so the fulcrum is the process.
We cannot do this. We cannot establish it. We can talk about this from now to the,
till the cows come home.
That's right. We can talk about nutrition, about mental breathing, physical immune. But what we really need to establish the lifestyle change. And we cannot establish it otherwise than with small daily steps. And that's what we call it a process.
Yeah, because that's where people go wrong, because they expect instant results, don't they?
That's right.
When they don't get instant results, they stop. They go another direction. I actually saw this. I used to be involved in trading. Trading financial instruments, and people wouldn't keep to a system, because if the system wasn't working for them within the first 3 or 4 days, they threw it away and got a new system. They never made them success. They always lost all their money. Mm-hmm. It's the same with the body then.
It's a very good picture.
Yeah.
It's a very good picture, yeah. So what we need consistency.
Yeah.
So you see, this thing can be many things. We need a process. We need consistency.
Yeah.
We need a lifestyle change.
Yeah, we definitely do.
And you see, here, this is a lot of words, right?
Yeah.
But what we are learning to do it from one point.
Yeah.
This point.
Process.
No, this point, this process, we can establish the process. This point is called Hara. And Hara point.
Hara.
And this point, I'm writing it like that. H-A.
Yeah.
R-A. And it's called Hara training.
Hara training. Okay.
Hara training means that when we do all of this exercise, when we want to avoid procrastination, daily procrastination, that's one of the bigger issues in the lifestyle change.
We know
something, we get fear, we get procrastination. So we write it here too. Fear of change, procrastination.
Well, I think it's more. If I just want to say something here, the thing is with people's lives, we have this. I can't remember the name of the gland that tells us whether we should fight or flee or freeze. When you don't see anything as a clear and present danger, you tend to procrastinate. So, of course, when you have cancer patients come to you and they say, help me, Misha, I've got problems. And you say, okay, you've got to go through this discipline. Once they overcome those fears, they will go through it. What I find with myself, but other people, is that people have the attitude that they think their lifestyle's okay, so they say, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And many people refuse to put in the work to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And of course, the thing gradually deteriorates. They get bigger, they get fatter because they're eating the wrong things. Their weight's going up. They develop diabetes. They develop heart and circulation problems. And eventually they will develop Alzheimer's and cancer. And yet, if they took the time for the daily training, and the story you told me about the master, the guy in China who died when he was 115, and they asked him, how did you do it? And he said, well, I just do the exercises every day. I think that's a fantastic story.
It was a fantastic story, very, very inspiring. You know, this guy, we talked about that in one of our lives. And this guy, he died in age 117. This is crazy. And he died from falling from the stairs. Not from cardiovascular disease, not from the stroke, not from the cancer. He died from falling from the stairs. It was like that.
Okay.
That's a good
now, Misha,
death.
you've got a question here about sleep. How does your sleep come in your diagram? You have an opinion on quantity of sleep, and I know that you advocate something called sleep hacking.
Oh, that's a fantastic question, Hugh. Thank you very much. Mwah! Thank you.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
And Hugh
from Geneva in Switzerland.
Geneva, from Switzerland. Thank you, Hugh, for this amazing, very good question. You see, the sleep hacking is one of the biggest ways to optimize the energy.
Yeah.
The sleep hacking. And I have an article on my site about sleep hacking. Actually, a couple of articles. So go to Sakharoff.com, and I wrote it here, Sakharoff.com. And you see, I write it here, Sakharoff.com. But you see, the quality of sleep is huge because it influences our breathing very much. And the breathing is influencing quality of sleep. That's a very good example of what we call interdependence. You see? And
perfect example, yeah.
Our physiology is influencing this because our cardiac rhythms are subject to change during the night, and they follow the sleep cycles in the brain. So what they do after 4 o'clock, 4:30, very, very normal. That's a part of our human physiology. And it can be a little bit different from person to person. The deviation can be slight deviation, but normally it is that the cardiac frequency is going up after 4 o'clock, 4:30, 4:30.
What kind of figures? It's preparing for you to wake up again, isn't it?
That's very interesting, yeah. And what happens is that where people start to hyperventilate, so there's a direct connection. Normally, what we think about, that's the breathing influences the heart rhythm. But in the other way, too, heart rhythm also influences the breathing. So we start to hyperventilate, and we start to move. And very often, to make it simpler for us to breathe, because when you hyperventilate, you open the mouth and you lie on your back. And what happens there? That's heavy hyperventilation.
So you're losing the carbon dioxide in your bloodstream.
Carbon dioxide, and what it happens is disbalance in the gas, first in the lungs, in the alveoli, in the alveolar blood, and then the ability of hemoglobin to release oxygen molecules to the cells is getting worse and worse. And we call it affinity is getting bigger of hemoglobin and oxygen molecules. And there where we die. You know,
can I just
just a last ticket. When people are severely sick, the most of them, they die between 4 and 5 in the morning.
Wow.
This is not very well known, but if you talk with people that are working in the places for severely ill in the hospitals,
like hospices and things,
The hospices, the people are dying between 4 and 5.
Wow. I just want to relate something.
We need to get up earlier.
Yeah, we do.
And sometimes, no, I'm not 4 and 5. I'm sorry what I say. Between 4 and 7 in the morning. Between 4 and 5. Yes.
I just like relate something. This is a personal story. Because before I learned about the breathing and the diet, I had a severe snoring problem. Funny enough, it almost caused the divorce because my wife has to get up early, and she was so fed up. In the mornings, I used to roll over and she'd be gone. And I said, "Where did you go?" She said, "I couldn't stand your snoring. Your snoring was outrageous. You were outrageously snoring." And I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't think I could do anything about it. Now she says, I don't snore at all. And if I feel like I'm snoring, I get up. Because generally I look over and it's about 5 o'clock in the morning and I just get up. Because it's much better for me to avoid snoring altogether. And you know, I feel when people tell me my husband snores, I think, your husband's got a huge health problem then if he snores.
You see, that's a very good one to round up our discussion today.
Yeah.
What I would like to say is that this, Hugh, still, where does sleep come into your diagram? Do you have an opinion on quantity of sleep and from when to when is best? You see, it's better to do sleep hacking together with breathing optimization, because with breathing optimization and optimization of nutrition, because then when you optimize, you start optimizing these two, and then you work with optimization, you work with acquisition first, and then you work with distribution, because you know what the value of working with distribution if the optimization is very, very bad of acquisition of energy.
Yeah.
So work with distributing very low amount of energy. You see? So to work with sleep hacking is better when you start feeling the difference. You start actually feeling that your health is getting better and better. And then we work with quality of sleep. And what happens is we are trying to get earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
Because we want to avoid involuntary. Thank you very much. Involuntary hyperventilation, because we cannot control it because we are asleep. That's the problem. And many people's health deteriorates in the last 3 hours of their sleep.
Yeah.
So when we start to work with sleep hacking, we really need to work, waking up a little bit earlier, a little bit earlier, a little bit earlier. And then you will see that together with breathing optimization and nutritional optimization, you optimize acquisition of energy. So you have a lot more energy. So your need to sleep is getting like shrunk.
Yeah.
Getting shrunk. So what happens is I do with all my clients, both with cancer, with diabetes, with all lifestyle disease, I do they sleep patterns, they shrink, and the best pattern that I see, which is common, is 4.5. I call it 4.5. And 4.5 means that the getting to sleep at 12 o'clock, getting up at 4:30, 4.5 hours. And you cannot say that it's perfect for everybody. But what I see now that is perfect for me, because I do the same. Sometimes I get up at 4 o'clock, sometimes at 4:30. I do every day, and I work like many hours a day because I love what I'm doing. You see, I can show you. Normally, I have clients here, and then I have clients here sometimes too, because I'm still working. I'm a musician, and I love playing music. So that's the place where I thrive.
That's a big violin you got there.
I used to play with double bass first, and then I played a lot of piano, the drum, vocal for vocalists, good guitars, basses are hanging there. So I really work. I work with different things a lot during the day. So, and I'm sleeping from 12 to 4:30 normally. In weekends, I'm together with my my girlfriend, a little bit different sleeping patterns, but if we were together all the time, when we're together during the week, actually, I still get up at 4:30.
That's fantastic.
But, yeah,
that's fantastic. Anyway, Misha, I think we better wind it up there because we've been going for an hour. But thank you. Oh, listen, can we take this, Hugh? I hope you can join us again.
Thank you very much.
Listen,
questions.
If you ask your question there, can I go because this? If you want to leave that, if you want to handle that question, okay? So I'll leave the chat.
Okay, thank you. See you, Steve. Bye. So, Hugh, I just want to say thank you very much for the very, very good questions, because it's very helpful, because we really need to get some valuable questions into our blabs here directly from the public. So, how much minimum time should we leave between eating and going to sleep? Any other ritual before going to bed? Very good question. Thank you. So what we really need, there has to be as big as possible time between the last meal and the going to bed. And I will tell you why, so you understand. There's a process we need, our cells are basically in two states. They can be in the state of nourishment, taking in the foods, and they have to be, we call it normally anabolic state, and they also can be in the catabolic state. In catabolic state is where they are actually making the cleansing state. So these two states. And what is interesting with cleansing state, that there's many different process of cleansing, but some of them are called, I forgot, it's called autophagy. And autophagy, I will write it here, autophagy. And there's the different kinds of autophagy. Some kind of autophagy. Autophagy basically means that the cells start eating the garbage that is inside the cellular fluid. So the cellular fluid, there's a lot, perfectly. So there's a lot of garbage in the cellular, intracellular fluid. There's a mechanisms in the cell membrane and into the cell to get rid of this organism, these half digested proteins, for example, and things like that. So it's called autophagy, automatical eating, the eating of itself, kind of. Okay, there's different kinds of autophagy, but one of them starts already after half an hour after the last meal, after 1 hour. But one of the it's called CMA, chaperone mediated autophagy. And that's a very interesting process because it starts 10 hours after the last meal. So you see. It means that if we have 24 hours in our day and we are eating from 7 o'clock first time until 10 o'clock with some kind of chips or something, like small things, but for our nutrition, for our enzymes, doesn't matter how much we eat. Just we put some kind of macronutrients, meaning protein, fat, or carbs into our mouth, to start production of the enzymes. And the work of autophagy, CMA, chaperone-mediated autophagy, starts again counting down 10 hours. So if we eat first time at 7 o'clock and last time at 10 o'clock, okay, how many hours is that? 7 to 22. That's 15 hours, right? 24 minus 15, it's 9 hours. And 9 hours is less than 10. And it means basically that chaperone-mediated autophagy, the most valuable process of cleaning up the intracellular fluid, is never done. So we need some kind of manual cleansing procedures, to cleanse the body. But the body has the built-in procedures of cleansing that are never used. Did I answer your question, Hugh? I think I did. And it means that what I do with my clients, I slowly, we shrink something called a nutritional window. A nutritional window when you stop from 15 hours, 12 hours, up to 4 hours, then up to 3 hours. And people that have cancer, we do something called ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting and caloric restriction. So we sometimes eat once a day. We have periods where we only eat once a day or 2 times a day. We skip the breakfast and then we eat from, for example, from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. That's 4 hours. And when we have the 4 hours, we can enable the chapter on mediated autophagy. And that's just one of the process of cleansing. So Hugh and all the other guys, thank you for joining this blab. And please, I write it again, sakharoff.com. Please visit me there at my blog and read my articles and subscribe, please. At the end of every article, there's a subscription. In the end of every article, there's a subscription possibility. So just write your email address. Thank you very much for joining. And we are doing these blabs basically 1 or 2 times a week, and we're talking about human physiology and how we can support the self-healing processes of our body that are built into our body without medicine, totally drug-free. Misha Sakharoff here, and Steve Pickering was interviewed by Steve Pickering, which is a health blogger, a good friend of mine, and I think we have a good vibe together. Thank you very much.